Hello and welcome to episode 282 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm James.
And that was a little clunky, but we got there.
It's all right. We got through it.
The never-ending journey to get through Modern Horizons 3 cards. We are hopefully at the end.
This episode should go reasonably quick, I think. There's a lot of cards here, but I don't think we're going to talk about all of them.
All of them individually.
Yeah.
So we're going to be on colorless. We're going to go through the cycles, and then we're gonna touch on Brian's Commander products. That's right. That's right. So if you have any ideas for shows, anything you want us to talk about, just want to say hey, reach out to us on social media, Facebook, Discord, the artist formerly known as Twitter, email. All those links are in the description below.
Yeah, hit us up. Let us know what you think. If you're looking to support the show, a couple ways you can do that. The first is with our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there using that link. Buy any of these Modern Horizons cards that you're looking to pick up. We did talk a little bit in the pre-show about how some of these cards might be cheaper than they should be. There might be some decent spec targets in there, but I mean, who knows anymore, so your mileage may vary. But if you're looking to pick up any of that stuff, you can support us at no cost to you at the same time by using that TCG Player affiliate link. After following that link to TCG Player, anything you purchase will help to support the show. We'll get a small percentage of it. Like I said, doesn't cost you guys anything extra and really helps us out. If you're looking to support us more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. You can sign up, chip a couple bucks in, you get access to our pre-show, so you get about another hour's worth of content out of us every week, and you get access to my show notes, so you get kind of a sneak peek about what the next episode's going to be about. If any of that sounds good to you, or if you just want to support the show, show us you love us, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG.
Yeah.
Help us out.
Yes, please. All right, so we've got our colorless cards. And then we've got a bunch of other stuff. So
we do.
The first colorless card is
that's not the first.
What is it?
Am I missing some cards?
I'm on episode 282. Colorless and lands?
Yeah, I think I'm missing some cards in my...
Oh, no.
I am.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's all right. We'll have to go with it.
All right, so first one, I think I added these last week, maybe, or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, maybe that's...
All right,
no, I think I had these, but anyways.
Anyway, smooth is Devourer of Destiny, and it is... Oh, gosh, now I got to remember what it does. I was just looking at it. It is...
Sorry.
That's right. No, it's fine. It is 5 colorless, so 5 double wingding.
Yep.
For a 6/6, and you may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do, at the beginning of your first upkeep, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may put one of these cards back on top of your library and exile the rest. And then when you cast this spell, exile target permanent that is 1 or more colors.
So it's somewhere between like a Once Upon a Time and a Chupacabra.
Yeah, or like, remember the thing that you could reveal and you would like look at the top 4 or something? Was it It was like not Curator of Mysteries, but like the other one. It was like 2 blue for like a 4/4 flyer or something.
Yep.
So like, the reason I think this is important, and like you've already seen it in like the modern Eldrazi decks, is it does a couple things. One, it finds your Ugin's Labyrinth. Which is kind of the only thing that legitimately makes those decks playable in Modern.
Right.
And not only does it find it, it exiles itself to Ugin's Labyrinth because it costs 7.
True.
So it does, like, this one card can help you find your Ugin's Labyrinth and
turn it on.
Yep. The fact that it, like, exiles a card doesn't super matter, right? It's more just those 2 things. So I was thinking, the modern decks aren't here yet, but I think this is something that will probably happen with like Eldrazi decks in Legacy, because I'm already like kicking around like some of those. Is this also finds Chalice, right? So like
yeah, it does.
you're like Eldrazi Stompy decks were their best when you like got to like Ancient Tomb Chalice
Yeah.
or Ancient Tomb Mimic into Thought Not Seer, right?
Yep.
This like helps you find all of those things. Like if you have like, you know, 2 of the 3, this should help you find the like the last piece. You're like, oh, okay, like I have, you know, Ancient Tomb with a Thought Not Seer, but I don't have a Chalice. And then you're like, oh, you get to look at 5 cards in a way, right? Like you look at 4, and you may put 1 back on top.
Right. So if you don't like the 4, you get to look at a 5th.
You get to look at a 5th, right?
Yeah.
So like you've got 7 cards in hand, and then you get 5 shots at a Chalice. If you don't have your Chalice, like that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and like another thing, like these stack. So if you have 2 of these in your opener, like you get to look at 11 cards.
Not 9, because you would look at like 4.
Well, you get 7 in your hand, and you look at 4,
Oh,
so that's 11.
Oh, like okay, like yeah,
Yeah,
like 15
yeah,
if you had 2 of them, yeah. To find like your Chalice, so you're like a 5th of the way through your deck. Statistically, not like you're just under 20% of your deck, or
Yeah.
you're under 25%. You're at like 20% of your deck. But you get to look at 20% of your deck, and if you have 2 of them, you get to look at 25% of your deck to find one of your 4-ofs.
right.
Like, so statistically, you should find it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was thinking this more like in terms of what it could do for the consistency of these decks in like Legacy.
Absolutely.
Right? Like your Stompy deck that just gets to cast, you know, once upon a time that can get a Chalice is like phenomenal. And it's already like holding its own in Modern. So
Yeah.
this card just kind of does it all for those kind of decks that are like, you know, that are like the Soul Land kind of decks.
Yeah.
Right, because you've played it, you know, played a Stompy deck where you're like, well, I have the Chalice and then my Goblin Rabble Master, but I don't have the Soul Land.
Right.
All right, you get like a million looks at like one of your like 8 Soul Lands.
Yep.
So, all right.
No, seems sweet.
Yes.
The next one we have that I don't have a picture of is Kozilek's Command. This is X Wingding for a Kindred instant Eldrazi, and you get to choose 2. Target player creates X01 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens with sacrifice this creature, add a Wingding. Target player scries X, then draws a card. Exile target creature with mana value X or less, or exile up to X target cards from graveyards.
I mean, it does a ton. It does none of it efficiently.
Right.
But
it's
does.
Colorless, so it doesn't have to do it efficiently.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it does it at all and it's colorless is like a huge deal, right? Like, the color. Back in the cave days, the Eldrazi decks played like Warping Whale, and like it was something's inversion, where it was like 1 on a Wingding, it gets like +3, -3.
Spatial Contortion?
Spatial Contortion, there we go.
Yeah.
Like those were the cards that you were playing. This like way better. And because it's a Kindred Eldrazi spell, Eldrazi Temple casts it.
It does.
Because it just says Eldrazi spells, not like Eldrazi creature spells.
Right.
So, like, Graveyard Hate, removal, ramp and like not great card draw.
Yeah, I mean, what are going to be the default modes? Make a bunch of scions and kill a thing?
Probably, and then like the graveyard hate aspect is just kind of
Conditionally.
just kind of good because you have right, like against a like graveyard deck, you're just like, oh, oops, I had this in my main deck
Yeah.
anyway. I don't like the draw card mode. Just seems like not great.
Not great. Yeah.
And I mean, if you have the mana and you don't have the thing, kill a 2-drop, scry 2, draw a card.
Mog. Yeah.
Yeah, is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna be like kill a thing, make scions, or like kill a thing, draw a card are gonna be like the two like ways it gets used the most.
Yeah, I mean there was a point in time where that first mode just on a card by itself saw play, right? Wasn't there a card that was like X colored, make a bunch of tokens?
Oh, like there was secure the waste was 1 mana.
Yeah,
but no,
that's
like,
what I was thinking about.
No, but I think you're right. Like there have been like color X make tokens.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that is like a reasonable like playable ability, and the fact that they sack for mana later on, like so almost like secure the waste used to be like, oh, end of turn, tap Eldrazi Temple, Ugin Sanctum, and like one other thing, make 3 tokens. Next turn I have 8 or 9 mana.
Yeah.
Slam enormous thing, play Kozilek or whatever.
Yep.
Win game, presumably.
Yeah, handily.
So yeah, I think it is good that there is this like strictly colorless card that does things that you typically didn't have in strictly colorless cards.
Yep.
That will help the Eldrazi decks in Modern and Legacy, and then barf, but like we'll also see a decent amount of play in Commander. I'm assuming that's where a lot of the price comes from in this card. Is right, like if you're like, I love playing Kozilek,
right,
as my commander, and my interaction was Warping Wheel, Spatial Contortion, and the list ended.
Yeah. Meteorite. Don't forget about Meteorite.
Meteorite, Meteor Golem.
Yep.
What was is it the Hell Vault? It's like one of the like, pay 1 mana, then play like a bajillion mana and exile something.
Yep.
Universal Solvent. Like this is a
Universal Solvent, yeah.
This is a way of all of those cards that I could remember.
O-Stone,
yeah. It was Universal Solvent. Like it's good that you have this option.
Yep.
And like the fact they made it Kindred Eldrazi so it worked with Eldrazi Temple. A+.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Do we get to break vintage now?
Sure. How are we breaking vintage?
We're playing Vexing Bauble. So
how does this break vintage?
Whenever a player casts a spell that has no mana spent to cast it, counter that spell, and then it has 1 tap, sacrifice Vexing Bauble, draw a card. Can't cast Moxes.
That's right.
Also, can't evoke Grief.
That's true.
Or
Solitude.
Like none of the pitch elementals, none of the pitch removal spells, or not removal spells,
no force.
Spells, no forces, exactly.
No force, no days.
So like it does a thing to try to make you play like fair Magic. So like it can be a sideboard card. It also like isn't a dead main deck card.
Right.
Because you just get to cash it in later.
Well, I mean, also it's not a dead main deck card because it's always going to hit something.
Yeah, like I can't imagine what what deck in Modern Magic would not have a free spell in it.
Right.
Like, what are we playing that does not, that we're not like casting something for free?
Right.
Everything. So this is gonna hit something. Now, it'll also hit you.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't play this and then be like, ah, solitude you. Like, no. Get all the way
Countered.
God. Yes,
Yep.
get all the way God. A GRV. Dang.
Yeah.
But like, but it is awkward that like, you know, it just might not matter. Your opponent goes like is on the play and like grief scams you. And they just leave you with the vexing bobble. They're like, yeah, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I have done my thing.
Yep.
Grief ephemerate, and you're just like, amazing. I have no hand now.
Yep. Cool.
I guess in that case,
cool,
they would
cool.
have to take the vexing bubble, because then you couldn't ephemerate to get your third grief. So I was like, all right, I'll leave that Bowmasters till next turn.
Yeah. We'll come back for that.
We'll come back for that in a sec. Thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, seems pretty decent.
Yeah, I think so too. Was this one of the uncommons that was over $1?
Yes, I think it's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, makes sense. Next up, we have Winter Moon. This is 2 mana for an artifact. Players can't untap more than 1 non-basic land during their untap steps. Some kind of a cross between like Back to Basics and Winter Orb.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
A little bit less punishing than Back to Basics.
Yeah. I guess like the hard part is like, what deck wants to play this?
No,
Right, like,
none.
Yeah, like you're in this weird situation where like, you know, whenever I see a 2 mana colorless spell, I go to like, oh, in Legacy, I want to like Ancient Tomb, do this.
Right.
Well, then I can't like play any of my other
Untap
spells.
your soul land. Yeah.
Yeah. Or, you know, like, do you want to be like Death and Taxes and play this? Maybe. But like, even then, like, that's not that exciting.
Right.
You're not like, oh man, I took turn 2 off to do nothing.
Basically.
So my opponent can only untap 1 land.
Well, I mean, it's awkward also because, like, this is only as good as it can slow your opponent down.
Mm-hmm.
And this only slows your opponent down if they've already tapped their lands.
If they've already done something.
Right. Which in Modern Magic means that no matter what they've done, they've already gotten paid back.
Mm-hmm.
So if they've already cast their 3-drop that drew them 2 cards and gave them all their mana back or whatever they're doing, then you Winter Moon. Like, they're already so far ahead that the Winter Moon doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, you've just taken off turn 2 to not really impact the board.
Yeah.
And, okay, fine, they only got to untap 1 land. But for the most part, like, most decks are just consist of spells that cost 1 or 2 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll slow them down, but they'll still get to, like, you know, play some part of their game plan reasonably well.
Yeah. And as we just discussed, it doesn't cost any mana to grief somebody, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I paid 1 mana to Thought Seize You twice and have a 4/3 menace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have fun with your Winter Moon.
I'm going to pay 2 mana and play a Winter Moon and then take 8. It's like,
Right.
neat. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Cool.
Your go.
Yeah. Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't think it does a whole lot. I don't think it's going to shake anything up.
Probably not. All right. Next up is Shifting Woodland. This is a land. When it enters the battlefield tapped. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a forest. It adds green and has Delirium. 2 green. Shifting Woodland becomes a copy of target permanent card in your graveyard until the end of turn. activate only if you have 4 or more card types in your graveyard. I think I shortened that last bit. So,
That's all right.
before the set was released, everyone was like, oh my god, you just get an Omniscience. It'll be so good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that is a thing that anyone is doing. I think people tried it, realized can't do it.
Those same people realized that there was more to do with Nadu than Omniscience.
If I'm going to be a blue-green deck, I want to play a 3-drop as opposed to a 9-drop in my deck or whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, I think this is going to be better for, like, incidental stuff in your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you know, could you play one of these in your, like, Nadu deck? Because you can get a land in there, then your, what's it called? You get a land, you get your Urza Saga, right? You get a creature, and then an artifact, or an instant, or a sorcery. And now if they kill your Nadu, you just make another Nadu go off.
Yep.
Right? And you don't have to have, you know, you can have one. And, like, if the game goes long, awesome, you get to like copy a Nadu, or you copy your Nantuku, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
That makes the landfall make 1/1.
Yeah, with Springleaf Nantuko?
Maybe.
Is that right?
That sounds better than my just like whatever he's called Nantuko. Yeah. So like you can like I think it's more of a card that like you get incidental value off of.
Could be.
As opposed to like I'm not saying that like you
Spring
can't
Heart.
Spring Heart. Okay.
Yeah.
Nantuku. I'm not saying that you can't like Omniscience. But like as we have or as I have seen over the years, it's pretty easy to like mess with like things that require the graveyard.
Yeah.
Right? And like if you're all in on like I'm playing a bunch of uncastables so that I can get my Omniscience in the graveyard.
Yeah.
So that then I can copy it and then play all my uncastables. Like that's not going to work out.
You know, I have to say that I'm really proud of you.
What?
Because you just completely explained and talked about this card without mentioning Dark Depths.
Oh, I was going to. But
okay.
I was going to. When you said you're proud of me, I was getting ready. I was like warming up to. I bought one.
Yeah.
Because you only need one.
Right.
Because it is a way to rebuy your Dark Depths.
Yep.
Right? Like, and when I put this in Discord, you were like, well, how are you going to get Delirium? And like, if you're playing like more of a like turbo Dark Depths version, right, where you're a little faster, right, you're going to probably get a sorcery in there with whatever your like land searcher is or Thoughtseize.
Yep.
You get a fetch. You're going to get your Dark Depths in there when you sack it.
Yep.
Maybe an artifact from like Lotus Petal, and then crop rotation, or like what is he called? Not of this world. Right. Like you're gonna have, and then like you'll have you might have a creature in there. Right. So you have a way to turn it on.
I mean, this is the backup. So you've already done the thing once.
You've done the thing once, and instead of having to get stage depths again, or or depths plus thing, you can just get this.
Yep.
And it will do the thing again.
Yep.
And you hope they don't have like another Solitude. Right? Like that's where you are. Big money, no Solitude. Stop. Like, oh.
Right.
Oh, they had it. But yeah, like that's why I was like, oh, this is great. This card is also a study in why you don't pre-order stuff.
Absolutely.
It like went from like $25 or $30 to $5. I used my store credit, and I think I caught it on the way down. I caught it at like 10, and I was like, I just need one. I am fine.
Fine with this.
I am fine with this. I'm ordering all these stupid cube cards. I'm going to just get this so I don't have to make another order. But yeah, I think that the hype is worn off because the thing that people wanted to do is they forgot how easily disruptible it is.
Sure.
They were like, it'd be so cool to get omniscience. And it's like, yeah, but surgical extraction and endurance are things.
They
Like,
sure are.
but, as your, like, backup combo piece or, like, piece of value, like, that's perfectly fine.
Yep. And the fact that it's on a land, like it's your backup combo piece that's on a land. It's your, I got to go for this one more time. It's on, like, it doesn't really cost you anything to include in your deck because it's on a land.
Yeah, and, like, and the fact that, like, it is an untapped green source if you have another forest, right? Like, that's not a huge ask a lot of the time, especially with, like, the prevalence of the surveil lands and stuff, right? Like, you're just gonna, like, have lands with land types that you want to have out there anyway.
Sure. Next up, we have a card that we've already talked about. This is Ugin's Labyrinth. It's a land, and it has imprint. When Ugin's Labyrinth enters the battlefield, you may exile a colorless card with mana value 7 or greater from your hand, and you can tap it to add a Wingding, or if a card is exiled with Ugin's Labyrinth, you add 2 Wingdings, or you can tap it and return the exiled card to its owner's hand. So it's imprint that you can get back. That's kind of cool. That's not something you typically get with imprint cards.
Yeah. Like, it kind of takes away a lot of, like, the drawback.
Yeah.
So you put your 7-drop under it, and you, like, you cast your turn 2 Thought Not Seer, or your turn 1 Mimic into, like, turn 1 Eldrazi Linebreaker, and then, like, if you flood out a little bit, you have Flood Insurance, where you have a 7-drop. And, like, that's really strong. I've also seen play patterns where people will use Ugin's Labyrinth to hide their big thing from, like, discard.
Oh, that's cute too.
Right? Like, in Legacy, like, there's Wasteland, so there's way more, like, like, you're risking getting 2 for 1 with Ugin's Labyrinth. In Modern, there's so little land destruction that gets played that, like, you're like, oh, like, they, game 1, they thought seized me. So game 2, I'm going to hide my Null Drifter underneath Ugin's Labyrinth for later in the game.
Yeah.
Or, like, I have a hand that the best card in it is this 7-drop. I'll hide it. And then as I flood out, I know I have this, like, backup plan.
Yep.
So, and I've seen, like, in videos that matter, and we're like, I forget who it was, like, played, I think it might have been Saffron Olive, played, like, Ugin's Labyrinth, and then, well, they played Eldrazi Temple, but then didn't play the Labyrinth, and, like, their only card was Devourer of Destiny, and they got their Devourer of Destiny thought seized, and then they went, or it might have been, or maybe it was Doomwake, but then they were like, oh, later on, like, okay, I lost this game because I missequenced, like, I should have played Ugin's Labyrinth first, and put the Devourer of Destiny under it because, like, I think for turn he drew, like, a Thought Not Seer. So, like, didn't have 4 mana because he went Temple first instead of Labyrinth. So, like, it gives you, like, an extra layer of, like, some extra sequencing to think about. And it's a conditional soul land. But, like, I think people are kind of settled on, like, 10 to 12 7-drops to kind of consistently turn on.
That's the right number.
Yeah, to kind of consistently turn on Ugin's Labyrinth.
That makes sense.
And, like, so 4 of them are Devourer of Destiny. Right, because it helps you find them. And then the other 4, the next 4 are often, like, Null Drifter.
Yeah.
And so then you're just kind of looking for, like, your next, like, 2 or 3 7-drops. So, like, World Breaker or something like that works.
Sure.
But, yeah, this is, like, their attempt at a fixed soul land, but in Modern it's still, like, I don't know. It's a very high percentage of Ancient Tomb.
Well, I mean, the soul lands that we've had in Modern have been gated by creature type, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Ayavugan and Eldrazi Temple were both only for Eldrazi stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and this isn't. Like this is
Yeah.
closer to like a Tron land.
Yeah.
You can put your Karn under it, and then it adds 2 mana, and you can get your Karn later.
Yeah. And like it's also again like it lets you chalice on one
It does. Yep.
where like Eldrazi Temple doesn't.
Correct.
Right. It does all the Eldrazi Temple stuff,
Yep.
but then it also does
The chalice stuff.
chalice stuff. Winter Moon you on turn one.
Sure.
What have I done to myself?
Exactly.
Why have I done this?
Yep. All right, moving on. We have one more land here. Not that this one is, I think, super impactful, but it's weird. This is Urza's Cave. It is land Urza's Cave. Tap it to add a wingding. Pay 3 and tap it. Sacrifice Urza's Cave. Search your library for a land. Put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. So, 2 things about this card. The first is that it can get any land.
Any land.
Any land. So it can go get your missing Tron piece. It can get a bounce land in Amulet. It can get your Urza Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Get
land.
your Dark Depths.
Get your Dark Depths.
Never
yeah.
forget. Get your Dark Depths.
Thespian Stage.
Thespian Stage. Yeah, whatever. Shifting Woodlands if things have gone terribly.
Shifting Woodlands. Sure. The other thing that's super weird and I have no explanation for is that its land type is Urza's Cave.
I have had time to think about this.
Okay.
I think I have a...
What is your response?
Okay. So, we must first realize that Modern Horizon sets are, while powerful, border on... They're in this weird area between like a regular set and almost like an unset.
Okay.
Think about all the punny names that kind of
Sure.
sound like old things, or the
Yep.
things that are like self-referential, like 6. It's the tree before Ren and 6. Before
Right.
Ren got to it. Or Psychic Frog. That sounds a lot like Psychotog,
Right.
right? Every other land that says Urza something
Uh,
has the type, right?
Urza's whatever.
Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, Urza's Tower. I'm pretty
Yep.
sure, right? They all
Is
say
it Urza's Saga land type legendary artifact?
that
not
is the
artifact.
that is the one that might like break it.
Yeah. Enchantment land Urza's Saga.
Yeah, that's the one I'm not sure about, but all the other ones are all
Yeah.
like wait, no, not Urza's Saga booster pack.
I mean, surely it's not because it has like land type cave, right?
It is Enchantment Land Urza Saga.
Okay.
So they're all they all have that is the naming convention for things that say whose
Urza's.
name is Urza's something. Their
Yep.
land type Urza's the thing.
Okay.
So I think it is just because they established a naming convention and now they're memeing on it.
I would say I agree with you, except like typically they do that kind of stuff in ways that don't matter. And while this doesn't matter, it's also extra rules baggage for something that doesn't matter, and that's what they try to stay away from.
But like counterpoint, it's a Modern Horizon sets where like commons have like paragraphs of text on them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right.
Where they're just like, we don't care. We made a card that lets you have a beginning of a beginning of turn step after your second main phase.
Yeah.
We printed a card that was broken and we tried to fix it by saying this only triggers twice each turn, but on every single creature that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just like this is the naming convention for Urza's lands.
Okay, maybe you're right.
Oh, when are we gonna get like Urza's Beach?
Urza's Sandbar.
Yeah, Urza's Sandbar.
Urza's Lakefront.
Urza's Vacation Home. Land
Yep.
type Urza's Vacation Home.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's just that. That is my theory.
Okay. Maybe you're right. I just thought it was weird.
And like maybe it gives them in Modern Horizons 4, they can make like another Urza's Land where it cares about like if you assemble tower, mine, power plant, cave,
And
and
cave.
yeah, and Urza's beachfront property, you get like to search your deck for a 10 mana colorless spell and cast it or something.
Who knows?
Right? Search your deck for like Urza's World Ender.
Yeah.
Urza's Kaiju. And then
Sure.
you get to do it. All right, so next up we have some cycles.
Yeah. The first cycle that we're going to talk about are the flares. I think for everything else, I don't know that we have to do like super deep on every card.
Yeah.
We can just kind of talk. We can read the cards and then maybe just like talk about the best one or the worst one or whatever.
Gotcha.
Or ones that are important. So we have Flare of Fortitude. This is the flares are the free spells for this set. It's 2 white if you're going to actually cast it for an instant, and until end of turn, your life total can't change, and permanents you control can't gain, or they gain hexproof and indestructible. And then all of these, you can sacrifice a non-token creature of the same color rather than pay its casting cost.
Gotcha. Do you just
So
want to
you
do
can
all of
either-
them and then
Sure.
talk about them? Okay.
Yep. The next one is Flare of Denial. 1 blue, instant counter target spell. Same deal, sacrifice a non-token blue creature rather than pay for it. Flare of Malice, 2 black. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. Same free text. Flare of Duplication, 1 red. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You can choose new targets for the copy with the same free text. And Flare of Cultivation. It's Cultivate with the same free text. 1 green.
So Denial is probably the best. Like always the like counter target spell one is best.
Yeah.
Right. And then Cultivation or Malice is next.
Yeah, I think Cultivation's pretty good. The Malice, I don't really like cards of that type generally. Where you don't get to like, where is it?
You don't get to like pick.
You don't get to pick it.
Right? Like you have some agency because it's like of the highest mana value.
Right. But the highest mana value might not be the thing that you want to kill.
This is very true.
And you also don't get to pick whether it hits a creature or a planeswalker. It's whatever has the highest mana value.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't care about their Elspeth, but they have an Elspeth, but you really care about, you know, whatever's on the battlefield, it doesn't matter. You get the Elspeth.
Yeah. Then like Fortitude is like very white, but like just I don't know what the use case is for it. Like maybe it is like you're like some white weenie deck and your opponent's like casting Supreme Verdict and you're like, haha, suck it.
Gotcha.
I get to kill you next turn. Same with
Well,
like,
I mean, if your life total can't change, that also stops a lot of combo decks too.
it does, yeah.
Although not as many as it used to.
My life total can't change. Thassa's Oracle, sucker.
Right.
And then Duplication. I don't know. I feel like this would have been better as like. I guess they just banned Fury, so you really can't print like Pyrokinesis again for free. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels weird to do the copy spell thing. I know it's like a quintessential red thing, but it just seems really narrow.
Yeah. So if the blue one is the most useful, how many pegs does it get knocked down because it requires a blue creature to be free?
A lot. Like, I think the best thing about these requiring creatures, especially like Flare of Denial, you don't just get to slam it in your, like, blue-white control deck,
Right.
right? Like, because, like, you can't sack the token from a Shark Typhoon,
Right.
right? Like, you have to have, like, honest-to-God creatures in your deck.
Yep. You can't sack a Karn Struct. You can't sack
Yeah. You have to
Colony Garden
actually...
Plant.
You have to actually 2-for-1 yourself and lose some mana that you spent earlier.
Right.
So, like, what it does is it limits the decks it can go in. So now you're looking at people who've been playing Merfolk. People have
Fairies.
also... Fairies. Dredge.
Sure. Dredge is all right.
Because Narcomoeba's blue and Prized Amalgam's
Priced
blue.
Amalgam. Yep.
So you have, like, 8 things that you can sack.
Yep.
Your Flare Denial. So, like, it's making people play decks that, like, Force of Will normally would not go in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And, like, even, like, in Legacy with, like, Delver, right? Or the artist formerly known as Delver, now Dragon Race Chandler.
Yeah.
Right, you can't sack a Chandler to it. Can't
Right.
sack a Ragavan to it. You can't... Right? Like, do you really want to, like, play a Delver just to sack a Flare of Denial to a Flare of Denial? Like, that's your win condition, and you just send it to the trash can for hopefully something that was going to kill you.
Yeah.
So, like, I think it makes you think more about using them just because you are, like, actually having to invest mana at some point.
Yeah.
And real quick, Cultivation. I just want to... I might be a Nick Fit gamer. Because, like, you play, like...
There you go. Yeah.
Because, so, you could play 4 Veteran Explorers, and then 4 Arboreal Grazers.
Yep.
So now you have 8 things that you can sack.
Flare Cultivation.
Or, what is he called? Cabal Therapy. Right, so you have 8 things you don't mind sacking. 4 that you really want to sack, right? You really want to sack your Veteran Explorer. And then you have 8 things to feed those creatures you want to sack to. Right? Like, that could make that deck way more consistent.
Yeah.
Because, like, Veteran Explorer, put 2 basics into play, plus then put your Flare of Cultivation land into play. Congratulations, you're at 5 mana on turn 2.
Yeah, I was really hoping, or not hoping, but I was, hoping also, but I was really thinking we were going to get Veteran Explorer in this set.
Someone may have bought 20 of the Witherlight ones, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was, like, a reasonable card for, like, the power of, like, current Modern. But maybe
I also kind of
I'm
thought
wrong.
we were going to get Crop Rot also.
Yeah, like, I mean, they got to leave something for Modern Horizons 4. We still haven't got Wild Growth. I thought we'd get Wild Growth in, like,
true.
Modern Horizons 1 or 2.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know about that, but, like, it's like, okay, but you gave us, like, Soul Land plus Steps. This is a Wild Growth is a Soul Land you can counter. Like, I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think that, like, Cultivation in, like, Legacy with Veteran Explorer is going to be awesome.
Yeah. Sounds like a good time.
All right, so we have the MDFC lands.
We do.
Don't know if we have to read all 20 of them.
I had no idea how you wanted to do this, so.
So they're all uncommons, and they're kind of broken into 2 main types. You have the monocolored ones that they each have a spell and a creature. So every color has a spell and a creature. And then they enter the battlefield tapped or untapped if you pay 3 life. And they kind of go back and forth between like you have like the front is actual cards you are happy to play.
Yep.
That happens to be a land, or card that is slightly embarrassing, but you are willing to deal with it because the back is a land.
Right.
So like, so Sink into Stupor, which is the most expensive one, and on the screen, it's 1 blue, return target spell or non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. It's like 1 mana too much for unsubstantiate.
Yeah.
But it's okay
but
because it's a land. Fell the Profane is like Hero's Downfall, but it's 2 black. But it's a land on the back.
Yep.
So they all kind of like sit in this space of like they can be wildly playable or like situational. Or like, and then all the dual lands, for the most part, the spells kind of suck. There's a couple that are good. But then the other 10 are dual lands. So we have monocolored ones with a bolt land on the back. And then you have double colored spells that have a tapped dual land on the back. I don't know how many of these are like actually modern playable.
Outside of very specific use cases.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I think like Revitalizing Repast is a black-green hybrid for give a creature +1/+1 and it gets indestructible. So it's not quite Snakeskin Veil, but it's, a pretty good approximation of Snakeskin Veil.
Yeah.
Right, Snakeskin Veil gives hexproof, so it gets around like Solitude and Exile removal. But like Revitalizing Repast like does a thing, and it's a land, right? Like in your Yogg deck, right? If you just get to like jam like 2 of these in your deck, and you have 2 forms of protection for Yogg in your deck, and now you're playing 26 lands instead of 24. Not the end of the world. Right.
I mean, it's kind of awkward that this isn't one of the bolt ones that's always going to be tapped, but...
Yeah. Like, again, Modern Horizons 4 will have the dual bolt lands.
Sure.
Or, I mean, by 2026, when we're on episode, like, 700 of the podcast or whatever, there'll be bolt tri-lands.
Sure.
So just be like, yeah, we gotta give them something. They're gonna take the mana symbol and split it into thirds, and then you're gonna have
instead of hybrid, it'll be super hybrid.
Super hybrid, yeah.
Trigrid.
Trigrid. I was gonna say mega hybrid.
Yeah, mega hybrid.
So like, there's like 2 of these. I would say Revitalizing Repast and Stump Stomp. Like Stump Stomp is a like 2 mana bite spell, which is maybe is a little much, but like if you just get to like put a removal spell on a land,
yeah,
like that seems fine. Non-modern thing, I jammed all of these in the cube because I was looking at the cube and I was like, I really wish I had more dual lands.
These are a great way to do that.
I get the dual lands in there, and then most of the uncommon ones are like non-embarrassing. That are like kind of uncommon, like common to uncommon power level. Like, and you're like, okay,
well,
like
they're typically things that are welcome in limited environments.
Exactly, yeah. Like I keep playing. I perhaps am overvaluing these in limited, but like the fact that like if I can get like 3 or 4 of them, and then I cut myself down to like 15 lands in like actual land slots, and now I have access to 18, 19 lands. Right? Like I'm not gonna miss my land drops.
Right.
But in the late game, I'm just gonna like draw a removal spell. or like draw a C- creature that would have been a swamp.
Yeah.
Like, amazing.
Yep.
So I think that you will see some of these. Oh, and the other thing. So
The real thing.
Belcher and like Oops,
Yeah.
they were like inconsistent and could not defend themselves. I would not be surprised if, particularly Oops, in either Modern or Legacy, gets to play 8 forces now.
Right.
Right? Because you get 12 blue lands,
Yep.
right? Between, minimum 12, because you get like the bolt, like all 3 bolt lands, right? The bolt lands from Zendikar Rising, and then these. And then if you're blue-black, you just play some of the blue-black one as well. Now you have like 16 lands or 16 blue sources, and then you can like pitch them to Force, pitch them to Force of Denial, and then like, could you play Ponder, and could you play Preordain? Like, you could like
Probably
play all like Oops all spells, but have interaction and selection
actual
in your
spells.
deck. Like actual spells as opposed to just like Dookie. Like, you would actually get to play like real cards.
Yeah.
And like same with like Belcher. Like, you have all these red lands, and like, okay, like in Legacy, I'll play Fury. And I can't get run over now.
Right.
Right? Like, I'm now blue.
You can pitch your stomp to it.
Yeah, I'm blue red now. Like, I don't need the green. I have all the red rituals I need. I'm gonna play 8 forces.
Yep.
Right? Like, and I'll play a Ponder and a Preordain, and I'll be able to like find my pieces. I'll be able to like keep hands that are not just like, I won't have to mulligan to 4 for like Belcher and like rituals. I'll be able to like be like, oh, like I can keep this, and then I'll like cast a Ponder, and then so like I think those like, I don't want actual lands in my decks are gonna just actually get to play real spells, which
That is definitely a thing I could see happening.
Which like is maybe not good, right? Like,
well, I mean, it's good for people that want to play those decks, but it's also, you run into the problem that like kind of dredge faces, where you're kind of not playing Magic, and people in general don't like to play against decks that don't play Magic.
Yeah, but like now you're like playing Magic if you're like, okay, I'll play my tapped blue source. Now next turn I'll cast Ponder, play like my blue-black duel, say go, force your play. Right? Like, so now they're actually playing Magic, and then they just go like, you know,
Combo wombo.
yeah, they're like Balustrade Spy kill you.
Yeah.
Right now, like, I don't know what like all the slots end up looking like, but like they were playing some like off-color lands that basically were just tapped for colorless.
Yeah.
And now they'll get to like play on-color lands at the very minimum.
Right.
But like, if you're able to play Force, the Force of Will Force Negation, like, why wouldn't you? Like, that just makes more sense.
Yep.
All right. Flip blocker time?
Yeah, hang on. I have to... How do I do this? Like that.
Look
Yes,
at
flip
us.
walker time. First up, we have Ajani. The front side is Ajani Nakatl Pariah. 1 and a white for a 1/2 legendary cat warrior. When it ETBs, make a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. And whenever one or more other cats you control die, you may exile Ajani, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. And the backside is Ajani Nakatl Avenger. It's red and white. 3 loyalty planeswalker. +2, put a +1/+1 counter on each cat you control. This is very small. Let me pull it up over here so I can actually read it. There's a lot of text on this backside here. Let's see. Where is a Johnny? I should have thought of this beforehand. I thought I was going to be able to read this. Create a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. When you do, if you control a red permanent other than a Johnny, he deals damage to the number of creatures you control to any target. And Neg 4 is each opponent chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, then sacrifices the rest.
Yes. Apparently, Cat Zoo has like top 8'd or won a challenge in the last week.
Okay, well that was kind of where my brain went. I was wondering if there was a cat aggro deck that wasn't just a meme.
So like the 1-mana 1/1 mythic from this set.
Yeah, Ocelot Pride or whatever. Yeah.
Then like Wild Nakatl, Neshoba Brawler, and a Johnny. Yeah, like actual real deck.
Fleecemane Lion is a cat.
I didn't have Fleecemane Lion in it, but
good.
I mean,
that's a 2-mana, 3-power cat.
Yeah.
Step Links was another one I was thinking of.
That was another deck that was it was Step Links and his. I think it was that there was a deck that popped up that was like Step Links and like I think a Johnny as well. Mm-hmm. So that was a thing this last week.
You probably don't want to play it in the same deck as Step Links, but you also get Cat Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Brimaz is also a cat.
Remember when a 3/4 that made a 1/1 was a mythic?
Yeah. Like a $30 mythic.
Yeah. Now it's in the bargain bin with Kappa Cannoneer.
Yeah. Not that I think the front side of a Johnny is all that impressive, but a couple Ocelot Prides and a Johnny's +2 on the back can get out of control pretty quick, I think.
And you play a Johnny on turn. If you go like turn 1 Ocelot Pride, turn 2 a Johnny, attack.
Yeah.
They can't block.
Right.
Right, because then you're just gonna flip your Johnny.
Yep.
But if they don't block, you get a 1/1, and you start the snowball.
Is the Cat Lord from whatever it was from? Is that 2 mana or 3 mana? That was 3 mana, right?
Yeah, the one that gives all cats +2/+1 from Modern Horizons 2. Yeah, it was 3 mana.
Yeah.
And then I think there's a green Cat Lord from Amonkhet or Hour of Devastation. That,
I don't think that was a Lord, though. I thought it made other cats.
Yeah, it was like white Exert It to make a 1/1, but I thought it might have been a Lord, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
So then we have Tameo. Tameo is the legacy special here. Tameo, Inquisitive Student. It is blue for a 0/3 flying moon folk, and whenever Tameo attacks, create a clue. And then if you draw your third card in a turn, flip Tameo into a Planeswalker. You get Tameo's Seasoned Scholar. It is +2 until your next turn whenever a creature attacks you or a Planeswalker you control. It gets -1, -0. -3, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. If it's green, you get a mana. And then -7 is draw cards equal to half the number of cards in your library. Then you get an emblem that says you have no max stand size. And it starts out with 2 loyalty. So you can +2 it to kind of keep it alive. Then -3 to get a spell back. It's kind of like the play pattern you might see, like plus, minus, plus, minus, and then it goes away if there was no pressure on it.
Yeah. Obviously good with Brainstorm.
Yes, good with Brainstorm. I mean, good with like your typical legacy play pattern of like Ponder into other cantrip.
Yep.
Right? And on like if you attack with it on turn 2, turn 3 you can just like, Ponder and then crack a clue, and now you flipped it.
Yep.
It's not like ridiculously powerful, but it does like help keep you alive.
Mm-hmm.
And like in theory, you could probably get 2 cards out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you easily kind of get 2 clues, then flip it, so
Yep.
you're up 2 cards.
That's true.
It blocks a Ragavan.
It does.
And, like it does eat it to a bolt, but like it can't do everything.
Timmy, you can't do everything.
For 1 mana.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty solid.
What about in Modern? Any uses in Modern, or just Legacy because of the prevalence of cantrips?
So, there have been some blue-red control decks that did well over the last week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Or last week. I saw some lists that were like the top 8 challenges, and they were like playing Tameo.
Okay.
Like Tameo and Snapcaster Mage is kind of like their only creatures.
Okay.
So like Tameo is kind of showing up in those, like she blocks, she gives you card advantage. Eventually you get to flip it. So it is showing up in control decks as like a way to I think a way to like slow things down.
Yeah.
Right. It's kind of hard to get run over if you play an 0-3 on turn 1.
This is true. Next up, we have Sorin of House Markov. 1 and a black for a 1/4 legendary human noble, lifelink, and extort. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, exile Sorin of House Markov, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. The backside is Sorin Ravenous Neonate, white-black, 3 mana planeswalker with extort. You can +2 to make a food. You can -1 to have Sorin deal damage equal to the amount of life you gain this turn to any target, or -6 is gain control of target creature. It becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. Put a lifelink counter on it if you control a white permanent other than that creature or Sorin.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how good Sorin is. Is it popping up anywhere? Like, there's not really a vampire deck in Modern. And, like, I don't think a vampire deck would be built to use this anyway.
I don't think this is a vampire card.
Yeah.
So the one place I've seen it was Bryant Cook used it as a 1/of WinCon in Neobrand because you Nourishing Shoal a whole bunch, and then you flip Sorin and you plus it and you annihilate them. Unless they have Veil of Summer, then you lose, which is what he found out. He lost. I was also thinking while he was playing that deck, this is really, really, really good with Gristlebrand and Children of Corlys.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, so you have Goryo's Vengeance, and then, like, you just have to get a Children.
Yeah.
And, like, you gain 7, and then you draw 14, you play a Children, you sack it. Yeah. Well, like... So, like, you would gain 7 off of Grizzlebrand, which would flip your Sorin.
Right.
Right? And then you, like, draw 14, find a Children, gain 14. Now you've gained 21 life for the turn. Pew, pew. Laser beams. Yep. So, like, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, man, like, this is kind of a... I don't even remember the WinCon in, like... Zabara Icebridge, which is like the weird name of that deck, the Dark Depths, like instant speed reanimator deck. I don't remember what the WinCon was. It's been a while, but like this seems really good in something like that. A card I'm going to bring up later, Living Wish. You can Living Wish for your WinCon out of your sideboard.
Sure.
Because it's a creature.
Yep.
So, like, I really think it's like some sort of weird combo card where you just flip it and you've gained a bunch of life and you kill them.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's Children is Modern legal, right?
Mm-hmm. It's from Time Spiral.
And Gristlebrand is modern legal.
Yeah, you have Gristlebrand, and you have
Like, typically this deck is a legacy deck,
yeah,
but
but
I
like
don't think anybody's ever tried to play Tin Fins in modern.
no, but like you also like you now have goodness, what is it called? I'm dumb. So you have oh gosh, great content as my brain turns off. I stayed up late playing Magic last night, so that's why I can't think. We'll
That's
blame
all right.
that.
We're off for a normal schedule anyway.
You have Gorya's Vengeance, so you
Right.
have one of the 2 instant reanimator spells, and like we have like Jolted Awake if you have stuff in the graveyard that's like super cheap. If like
Oh yeah.
if you play like what is the one in the black Chthonian Nightmares?
Mm-hmm.
The energy thing, like you could like have some weird like energy package that allows you to like reanimate a
Yeah, I mean black is tough for
Grizzlebrand?
an energy package, but
yeah, but like if you're like Chthonian Nightmares gives you 3, Jolted Awake gives you 2, like
yeah.
you're Mardudu, and
Yeah.
then you play like
Galvanic Blast or something.
Galvanic Discharge or whatever.
That's
and,
what it is. Yep.
And like Harness Lightning.
Yeah.
And like now you have ways to make energy that are non-embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do like, and then you have like those cards to get like Grizzlebrand back. But like yeah, you could like if you had a way to gain a bunch of life consistently, then like Sorin can just kill your opponent.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what like, there's no way to gain 20. Is the problem like easily? There's not like a like. Whatever the highest casting cost green creature is, it's not 20
Yeah.
for Nourishing Shoal.
Yeah.
But just wait till like the next Commander product or something.
Eventually.
So yeah, like I think this is like a weird combo card.
Yeah, I didn't even realize this was a combo card. I thought it was just a bad vampire card, but I guess it really doesn't have anything to do with vampires, so I don't know why I thought that. The next one we have is Ral Monsoon Sage, and this I've been seeing pop up. 1 and a red for a 1/3 human wizard. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell during your turn, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, it deals 1 damage to you. If you win the flip, you may exile Ral. If you do, return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. And the backside is Ral Leyline Prodigy, 2 loyalty. Ral Leyline Prodigy enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on him for each instant and sorcery spell you've cast this turn. +1 until your next turn. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less. -2, Ral deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Draw a card if you control a blue permanent other than Ral. And -8, exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may cast instant sorcery spells from among them this turn without paying their mana costs.
Card's busted.
Yeah.
It gives you mana.
Mm-hmm.
And then it gives you cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it wins you game.
Yep.
Pretty simple.
Yep.
So yeah, like this is just like the best version of Baral Chief of Compliance
Oh yeah.
and Goblin Electromancer like ever.
Mm-hmm.
Storm decks now with this and another card we're going to talk about are like winning games on turn 2 and turn 3 pretty consistently.
Yeah, it's gross.
So yeah, this card is great. Like, I think the most common thing I've seen is people play the front side of Ral. They get pinged a few times till they get up to like 8 spells, and they flip it, alt it right away.
Yep. And then win the game.
Yeah, and then they just win the game. Like, they filled their hand. They've got a ton of mana. They filled their hand in some way. They've cast Past in Flames, or they've cast Underworld Breach.
Yep.
And then they're just like, yep, I have 1 million mana. I just need cards now, and then they win the game.
Yep.
pretty awesome.
Yep.
It is amazing to me that they've printed this card and then Ruby Medallion
At the same time.
at the same time. That says to me they were like, yeah, Storm should be better.
Yeah.
You could have unbanned all the Storm cards that you banned, like all the rituals, but now they just turned all the rituals into dark that are legal into dark rituals.
Mm-hmm.
And like Storm's winning on turn 3 all the time. Like,
good job, Wizards.
when are they gonna like ban? Now they're gonna have to ban these cards again.
Yeah.
Right? They're gonna, oh no, we don't want Storm winning. People are gonna complain that they're getting like clowned by Storm all the time.
I hate Storm.
And then they're gonna like ban Storm, which like fine. I try to play Storm. I'm bad at it, but like brain too smooth. But like but like you print all these cards to make Storm good, an archetype that you're like, we don't want this to be good.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be like if they printed like another Dredge 5 card.
Yeah.
Or like my mythical faithless rummaging, like 1 mana discard 2, draw 2.
Yeah.
Right? And then they were like, oh, I can't believe Dredge is so good. It's like, you printed a card that just says like card for Dredge. That is the flavor text. Play me with Dredge cards.
Yep.
Like, I can't believe that this deck's too good now. And this just seems like you knew exactly where this was going.
Yeah.
This is what you wanted to have happen. And you're going to be like, oh, this is too good.
Leyline of Dredge. You may reveal from your opening hand all permanent cards in your graveyard have Dredge 3.
Yes. Perfect. Done. All right. And then the last one. Grist Voracious Larva is green for a 1/2 death touch. And when Grist or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from the graveyard or it was cast from the graveyard, you may pay green. If you do, exile Grist, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control transformed. And it turns into Grist the Plague Swarm, a 3 loyalty planeswalker that has create a 1/1 black and green. Gotta get closer here. Insect token, and I can't read the rest of it.
Then mill 2 cards, put a death touch counter on the token if a black card was milled this way.
Okay.
Neg 2, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Or neg 6 for each creature card in your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect.
Okie doke. It is good. Oh, if I just make you full screen, then I can see it.
Yeah.
It is good, but it's probably the hardest one to flip.
Yeah, and like I don't know that the back is as impressive either.
Yeah, like you're not getting as much. Like I think you're getting like the backside of Tamiyo is not great.
Right.
Right? Like I think Ral is really good. I think Sorin does the thing you want him to do.
Yep.
Right? Like, and then this is just like becomes a mid-range planeswalker
that like I don't think there's a place for.
Yeah, that no one's like super hype about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I
mean,
don't
you can
like
do some cute stuff like with Bloodghast or Vengevine or something to get it to flip easy, but
Gravecrawler.
I don't. Yeah, Gravecrawler. But again, like kind of like you were just mentioning with Toys for Dredge, like that deck doesn't really exist anymore. Although I guess this works in Yogg.
It works in Yogg, but like you're not getting something that Yogg really wants.
Right.
Right? Like maybe the neg 2 to like pick off a curse totem.
Yeah.
But there are a million other ways that you could pick off a curse totem that don't require you to like assemble a Rube Goldberg machine to like, right? Because if there's a curse totem, then you can't activate Yogg to put your creature in the graveyard for it to come back for you to flip your grist. It's like, yeah, I just don't see what we're supposed to do with this.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
It almost like it reads like it's like if this planeswalker was like 2 mana, like you would play it in, you'd play it in Jund. Like this is like a perfect like Jund thing. It like giving you bodies, blowing up artifacts and enchantments. Eventually, like you get this like insurmountable way to win the game. But like the front side is like on like gets flipped by like kind of like combo-y nonsense.
Right.
Right.
Well, I don't even know that like the ult straight up wins the game because like they're just 1/1s. So
Yeah.
unless you're building a deck in such a way that you need specific creatures in your graveyard to combo and then win, like I don't think the -6 just wins.
Yeah, it might not. But like, you know what I mean? Like just like if it were a 2 mana planeswalker that you didn't have to do
Yeah.
like jump through the
Didn't
hoop.
ask a bunch of work.
Yeah, it would be fine. But like, you know, as a 3 mana planeswalker, it wouldn't be good enough, I don't think.
Yeah.
Maybe. So yeah, it just seems like way too much work and not enough out.
Yep.
Which sucks because like the art's cool. Like I like
is
the
cool.
I like the planeswalker art. All right. What is up next? Because I made you full screen so I could read cards. Aha. The Titans.
We have the Titans.
Emrakul, the world anew. 12 mana for a legendary creature Eldrazi. It's a 12/12. When you cast a spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls.
Yikes.
This has flying and protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. So you can't O-ring it.
Right.
You can't use any kind of targeted removal.
Right.
If you play a planeswalker, you have to wait till the next turn for an ability that would target Emrakul to kill it, and hopefully the person who has the Emrakul kills that planeswalker.
True.
I guess like if you were to show and tell it in, and they put in an Oblivion Ring, it could get it because it wasn't cast. Right, because it's
Yes,
permanents that were
that's
cast
true.
this turn. So if like
Yep.
crop rotation for Karakas,
Yep.
right?
That'll do it.
Then you've not cast it.
Yep.
You
Well, I mean,
know,
Caracas doesn't stop this either because you don't cast a Caracas at all, ever.
fair, yeah. But like, you know, if you have, gosh, if you're playing, what is that card? Enigmatic Incarnation. You could go get a creature that bounced it.
Yep.
Right. So now, when Emrakul, the World Anew, leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control.
Oof.
So you're sacrificing the creatures that you own, but you're also sacrificing all the creatures you borrowed from your friend.
Okay.
So, you know, if you only had Emrakul and you just took all their creatures, they
You're
have
not out
to.
anything.
Yeah, they like have to plague win themselves to kill your if they kill your Emrakul. And then it has Madness, pay 6, a colorless mana. I understand that much like with the energy, it reads better than putting like 6 wingdings. But like I really feel like it should just be 6 wingdings.
I really wanted to see 6 wingdings.
Yeah, it's like why did we just say 6? So I think this is the only card with Madness in the
It
set,
is.
which
is weird.
disappointing.
I was really expecting more Madness stuff.
Yes, I was all prepared for like more Madness cards.
Yep.
So
Give me Angie's Ravager.
yeah, gosh, great.
Yep.
If Emrakul, like if you can Madness it and it's 6 colorless, I have no idea how you're getting 6 colorless mana.
And
in your
also
deck.
like discarding.
Yeah. Here is my Underworld Cookbook Eldrazi Temple deck.
Yeah.
Does not seem like a thing.
Nope.
I mean, if you resolve it either way and your opponent has creatures, you probably win the game.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not going to be easy to do either of those to resolve it either way, but you probably win the game.
If you can do it, you deserve it.
Also, never counter one of these. because then Emrakul would never enter the battlefield, and you can't get your creatures back. You just lose to your creatures, right?
Yikes.
Like Emrakul never entered the battlefield, so the second clause can't happen.
That's true.
So
Yeah, don't do that.
don't do that.
No. Next one is Kozilek, the Broken Reality. 9 mana for a 9/9 legendary Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, up to 2 target players each manifest 2 cards from their hands. For each card manifested this way, you draw a card. And other colorless creatures you control get +3/+2.
So, if you have 2 cards in your hand when you cast this card, if it resolves, it put 19 power, 17 toughness into play and drew you 2 cards.
Whew.
For the most part, in limited, you should also target your opponent.
Yeah.
So they get 2 2/2s and you draw 2 cards. So this can be 19 power, 17 toughness against
Draw 4 cards.
Draw 4 cards. Your opponent gets 4/4 with of power and toughness.
Yeah.
You win that exchange.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get the 9 mana to do it, but sure.
Yeah. I guess this is also templated in Commander, so you could, like, in theory, draw 8 cards.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't better than the Ulamog from BFZ.
Yeah.
I guess he no longer gets to be Nulamog, but
True.
but it's like it's not better than that. Like it's not gonna like take that spot in Tron, I don't think.
No.
I don't think it's perhaps good enough for the Eldrazi decks.
No, I don't think so either.
So like I don't know where its home is.
Commander card?
I guess Commander card.
Yeah.
But like as we always say, that is a dangerous place to put. That's just a Commander card, and then it's like a $300 card that like is warping like 4 formats.
Yeah.
How is this legal in Pauper now? I don't know.
Well, I mean, +3/+2 is a hell of an anthem too. So if you can play a bunch of Bomat couriers and then reanimate this guy, like they'll close a game without doing any of the manifesting shenanigans.
Oh yeah, because like I guess you could just like
Ornithopter, Bomat courier, Blood for Bones,
persist.
Persist only hits non-legendary, doesn't it?
I thought persist hit. I thought unmarked gravestone but maybe persist is only. I thought it was just anything gets -1/-1.
No, it's non-legendary.
Okay, never mind then.
Yep.
I'll be quiet.
That's all right.
No, I think that like, it just doesn't seem like it has a home in Modern.
Yeah.
I think that like when people kind of get off the like huge Eldrazi thing, like maybe it is like Eldrazi 8 and 9 or 9 and 10 for Ugin's Labyrinth.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? You're like Null Drifter, Devourer, and then you're like, I need 2 more. I'll play my favorite 7+ mana Eldrazi. I love me some Kozilek.
Whichever one it happens to be.
Yeah. But I feel like the old Kozilek, the one that was from like BFZ.
Let you
like,
counter spells.
Yeah, that drew you cards and then let you counter spells.
Yeah.
Like that feels like better. Mm-hmm. And it has menace, like they're never blocking it.
Although this turns all your scions into 3/3s too.
Oh
is
yeah,
there
that
a
is
way
a good
to like
point.
turbo scions?
I mean, his command, the command.
Yeah.
You just like do that and then like use that to like, if you have enough, like if you have like 6 mana and you get 4 of them, right? Then you play another land. You have like 2 left over when you cast this, and you have like 2 3/3s that you can attack with.
Yep.
Like that's
Plus whatever you manifested if you're actually casting it.
Yeah. So yeah.
Maybe.
All right.
And the last Titan is Ulamog the Defiler. 10 mana for a 7/7 legendary Eldrazi. When you cast this spell, target opponent exiles half their library rounded up. It has Ward, sacrifice 2 permanents. And when it ETBs with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. and it has Annihilator X, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on.
This card has a very specific job to do in Timeless.
Yeah, what's that?
You can sneak attack it in and get the +1/+1 counters and have Annihilator. So
Yeah.
you like exile a card to Grief.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You exile like a 4-drop to you exile like Grief to a Grief.
Yeah.
And you like sneak attack this out. Now it has Annihilator 4
5.
or 5
4,
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you have a way to exile cards or you play again Devourer, you exile something with Devourer, or you put Devourer.
Whatever you put under, yeah, is
Now-
exiled.
Now it has Annihilator 7,
Yep.
right? Or you like show and tell it. You're just like, all right, like you've got to like double Stone Rain yourself to kill this thing, or I'm gonna like nuke
Annihilate
your
you?
board. Yeah, I'm gonna attack for 14 and blow up your board. On turn 3, right? Ugin's Labyrinth, Island, show and tell, go.
Yep.
Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Like
Definitely better than the other ones, I think.
yeah, I absolutely like. Could you play this in like in Legacy, right? Like a big part of Emrakul with sneak attacking Emrakul, and it's just like the Annihilator number,
Right.
right? This presumably is going to could have a similar Annihilator number, right? Like, oh, I've got to force your thing, and I'll pitch my show and tell.
Yeah.
All right, so this has Annihilator 3 and is a 10/10 off my, right? Like, you're left with like a land, like you're not going to win that game.
Yeah, and it has ward sacrifice 2 things. Like,
Yeah,
you're
like
never
you
going to get
can't
rid
kill
of
it, right? Like, yeah, show and tell this. What are you going to do?
Right.
I'll put in my O-ring. Okay. Please
Cool.
sack 2 lands.
Right.
You can't win now.
Yep.
Like, so I think this one feels like it has play somewhere. It is going to like be a thing that you cheat into play. Again, Shallow Grave, not Shallow. Yeah, Goryo's Vengeance in
Glorious
Modern,
Vengeance, yeah.
right? Like, again, you grief them. You pitch something reasonably sized to grief,
Yep.
and then next turn you like hit you for 10, blow up your only land, or something, or on turn 3. Right,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I'll like Faithless Mending, put this in my graveyard, then I will attack you, send you to the Stone Ages. All right, cool. Next game.
That's right.
So yeah, this really feels like it like has legs, or
Yep.
or lots of legs based on the picture.
Tentacles.
Tentacles, yes.
And then we have all of these.
All of the medallions.
Yep.
So they're all rares. They're all 2 mana, and they all reduce the cost of whatever color they're associated with those spells by 1. So there's 1 for each color, and then Ruby Medallion reduces the cost of all red spells by 1. Sapphire
Probably the only one that matters.
Ruby Medallion's the one that matters most. Sapphire Medallion probably also has a chance to matter at some point, just because, right? Like, if you can reduce the cost of some blue spells,
Yeah.
by 1, right? But Ruby Medallion matters the most because it takes all of your 1 in a red make 3 mana rituals and turns them into red make 3 mana.
Which is way better.
Yeah, Dark Ritual. Not legal in Modern.
Right.
Build your own Dark Ritual. Fine. I've seen play patterns where people will go like, turn 2 ritual, play a Ruby Medallion, have 1 red, and then storm off that 1 red.
Yeah.
Through a combination of Manamorphoses to draw more cards, getting up to like 5 mana. So then you can cast Past in Flames and then recast all those spells.
Mm-hmm.
And like Ral doesn't care when you cast the spells. It just matters that you cast them. So like if you like are casting spells and then dig into a Ral,
that's fine.
Your Ral costs 1 mana. Then when you flip it, you draw a bajillion cards and cast them all and win the game even harder.
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like there's going to come a point where they just go like, Storm's too good. We done messed up. Storm's too good.
Well, I mean, I don't know why they're working so hard to make it a thing if they think it's too good, but...
Well, like I said, it doesn't make any sense to me that you ban Storm out of the format. You're like, ugh, we don't like having Storm.
Yep.
And then you're just like, here are 2 unbelievable cards for Storm. Hey, Legacy has a Ruby Storm deck. It's called Ruby Storm because of Ruby Medallion.
Yeah.
What could possibly happen when we print Ruby Medallion into Modern? It seems fine. Right? Like, I'm fine if, like, I just don't understand the inconsistency of, like, we don't like this. We've banned it over the years to the point where it's unplayable. And instead of being like, how can we unban some of those cards to see if, like, Storm is, like, playable? Being like, here's a card from the Legacy deck. See how that treats you.
I mean, did these need a reprint anyway, though? Like, I think they were due for a reprint anyway.
They may have been.
I think they were in, like, one of the Commander products, but I think they were still due for a reprint.
Yeah, like, I don't know. So, Ruby Medallion was the most expensive. So, the Tempest one on Card Kingdom is $21.
Yeah.
So, like, but they were printed in Commander Anthologies Volume 2, Commander 2014, Commander Masters, and now Modern Horizons. And so they were like $14.
Okay.
They're $15 now. So they were 20 before. But so I'm not like, it may have just been for like the cost, right, that they were due, but it just seems like, could you not have put this in like Assassin's Creed?
Oh, probably.
I guess Assassin's Creed is modern legal, but like in some like Commander legal product, if like you're like, we want to reprint these, but we don't know, like.
Well, I guess they just did in Commander Masters. That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. It just seems weird to put it into Modern.
Yeah.
When we might have to ban it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I personally don't think we do, but just kind of like with Dredge stuff, right? When they're like, oh man, we don't like Dredge.
Right.
Right? Like, people, like, they decided they didn't want Storm to be good. And they spent, like, years, like, making it bad.
Yeah.
And then they were just like, here are the 2 best Storm cards you could ever dream of. And it's like, oh, okay.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, like, but like you said, you hated this. Yeah. And now it's like, you like it. I don't understand. All right. Commander
3
Corner?
more cards. Commander Corner.
All right. So, this is things for Brian's pet decks that aren't very good in Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I guess I'm somewhere in my soul, I'm a Timmy, and I just want to do big things. Right? So,
either that or you just like posts.
Yes. So, there was a deck called 12 Post that was Cloud Post, Glimmer Post, and then Vesuva to copy your post. And it's Cloud Post is the one that taps for a mana for each locus you control.
Mm-hmm.
There were only 2 locuses or loci
Sure. Loci.
Or Loki,
Not
whatever.
not Loki.
Not Loki. And now Trench Post
Loci?
Loci? I don't know.
I don't know.
Trench Post is now an extra locus.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're at 16 post.
Mm-hmm.
And target player mills a card for each locus you control for 3
That's
mana.
a win con.
That is a win con stapled to your land.
Yep.
And like it doesn't sound like a lot, but like, you know, if you're in a situation where you're not drawing your Eldrazi,
Mm-hmm.
and you just are like, all right, like mill 10, right? Mill 6. You know, at the end of your turn, mill 6, mill 6. You can only do that so many times before you are dead. So I just was like, it's like, oh, cool. We have another post.
More posts.
Speaking
The
of,
next one is Planar Nexus. Speaking of cards with specific mana types, this is a land with every non-basic land type. Non-basic land types are, well, it doesn't say they are. It says they include caves, deserts, gates, lairs, locusts, mine, power plant, sphere, tower, and Urzas. Tips for colorless, and you can pay 1 and tap it to add a mana of any color. What's important is this counts as locuses.
and I didn't realize this at the time. If you play this plus any Tron land, you have Tron.
Because it's the other 2 pieces?
Yeah, it's the other 2 pieces. So, right, it like this plus any Tron land gets you to like 3 or 4 mana.
Right.
So, which is interesting. But again, now we're at 20 posts.
And I think that's probably better than trying to shoehorn Tron lands into the post deck. Because this is a commander card, so it's not Modern League.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that like just being an extra post
Yeah.
is probably good enough. And like they've given us, so that deck is typically green. And so, you know,
But if you're up to 20 posts, like, you don't have to find lands anymore.
yeah, like you want Glimmer Post or Cloud, whichever one that gives you the mana. Like that's the one you really want.
Yeah.
But like you can stay alive if you have the one that
You can
gains
do that
you life.
with Devourer or Destinies or whatever now.
Yeah, you can find it with that. You also like this can get you your mana of any color. Right? Like if you want a Sylvan Scrying
Sure.
to get the other one, like this can get you there slowly, but it can get you there. But yeah, like you need like you have 20 loci or locuses, and then you're like, I'm gonna play 4 forests.
Yep.
And right, like, do you need to get prime time now when you just can like slam enormous like Eldrazi? Probably not.
Probably not.
Like, how easy is it gonna be to like just Emrakul people, like 15 mana Emrakul? Like, probably not too difficult. So just like having infinite posts for that deck is probably good. Is it going to be a good deck? Probably not.
Yeah.
But like, if you're gaining like 6 life every time you play a Locust, and then eventually you just like go boop and like make 40 mana, like that's probably fine.
Yeah, I think so.
All right,
And then we got the last one.
the best one.
This is Mutated Cultist. 2 and a black for a 1/3 Eldrazi Horror with Devoid. When you cast this spell, remove all counters from up to 1 target permanent or opponent. The next spell you cast this turn costs 1 less for each counter removed this way. And it has Death Touch,
Just in case.
just in case.
This is an uncounterable way to remove the counters from Dark Depths.
Yep.
this is also another study in don't pre-order cards. They were $10 at pre-order. Then I got them for $3. They're probably cheaper now.
Probably.
But it is an uncounterable way to get to take the lands off your Dark Depths. In a pinch, it's an uncounterable way to kill a Planeswalker. You also have the ability to... So there were different builds of Dark Depths that used to play like Living Wish. And it was awkward to like take a Dark Depths and put it in the board and like a Hex Mage.
Right.
But like now you can kind of curve into Living Wish for either Depths or Cultist.
Yeah.
And then turn 3 have the mana for Cultist to remove the pieces from your Dark Depths.
Yeah, I guess like the only thing that's kind of awkward about Cultist is in depths you really want to make Mom at instant speed.
Yeah.
And this can't do that.
It can't. So like I think that maybe you have to play Not of This World. Like to kind of protect it. But like while you want to play Mom at instant speed, you do have the like there are definitely times when it's like you have to like make Merit Lage before they play their land drop.
Yeah.
Right, so oftentimes you're making it instant speed in their upkeep, which still leaves you vulnerable to sorcery speed removal and what is it called? And like Planeswalkers like Teferi Bounce. So it is awkward, but it is giving you like kind of more bites at the apple, right? Like there's only one Dark Depths, but now you have an easier to cast thing as well, right? Like, you know, the combo of like Dark Depths, Urborg, Hexmage, like that's like 3 cards to do it on like turn 2.
Yeah.
Right now you could like, you know, 2 regular lands and, you know, as long as one of them's black, Elvish Spirit Guide or Lotus Petal. Yeah. Right? You don't quite need the same kind of combination of things because, like, you've played that deck. The mana in that deck is atrocious.
It sure is.
For a deck that is like 26, 27 lands.
Yeah. I mean, it's better with Yavimaya, but...
Yeah. But, like, it's got, like, 7 black sources and you want to, like, cast a black spell.
Yeah.
And then it's like... God help you.
But
you
still
draw,
need
like,
Living Wish and Sylvan Scrying or
and
whatever.
Crop rotation. And, like, God help you, you, like you keep, like, a black source and then, like, have Karakas Ghost Quarter.
Yeah.
You're just like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I can't cast any spells in my lands deck.
Right.
So, yeah, I will admit I hadn't thought about the... kind of like not being able to instant speed it. I was just more like now you have like 8 ways and you have so many ways to find Dark Depths. Yeah. Like between crop rotation that like putting crop rotation like Living Wish, putting 1 on the board for Living Wish to now have like this like cuz like before you'd be like I'll go get my Vampire Hex Mage and then they just like sit on it and counter it.
Right.
Now you're like, I'll go get my uncounterable way to get my Dark Depths and or to take the counters off, and now they can't counter it. Seemed pretty solid.
Yep.
So this one I was excited about, and going back to something we said a while back about Modern, like, oh hey, like you're gonna like have the deck that you want to play, and then it's gonna like a set's gonna come out, and that deck's either gonna totally change or like not be playable. Right. I just got done spending. I spent like $5, so don't cry for me. Buying the Mega Sloth from Fallout. That like Yavimaya plus Dark Depths plus Mega Sloth gives you an 8/8 trampler.
Yeah.
Like, do you I don't think you can have Mega Sloth and this
Yeah.
and Hex Mage all in the same deck. Like those are too many things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like it's like, okay, like now you're like, am I the Mega Sloth version? Or are the Mega Sloths just things I shouldn't have? Because now it's a mutated cultist deck. Like, is the deck going to get good enough that like for 1-2 month period it's mutated cultist, and then it's like, oh no, now we're on the Mega Sloth meta. Yeah, now it's Slothin' time. So like just that one, like I guess now like B tier deck. Maybe I'm being nice. Maybe C tier deck. Right now, there's multiple ways to build it, and like I'm talking about Living Wish, and like that might be wrong.
Right.
But you could also like put a sloth in the sideboard. So if you
it up.
Yeah, if you have Yavimaya into Dark Depths, boom, go get a sloth. Boom, here's my 8/8. I hope that's good. Solitude. Damn it.
I mean, Solitude's going to make you cry no matter what, so.
Exactly. But yeah, so this was just exciting. Like, there are few times that, like, Depths gets any kind of thing that you could squint and say, like, this is a Depths card.
Right.
And, right, to get, like, Mutated Cultist. And same with, like, you know, for the 12 post gamers. Like, when's the like, we haven't got a post in, like,
ever
15 years.
Yeah.
So, like, it was nice to see a little bit of love for obscure legacy decks that are fun. That like, and I don't know about how much Trench Post is, but if you're like, I want to play Legacy with real cards, like 12 posts cost like $8.
Yeah,
like
not much.
Like the posts are all commons and dirt cheap.
Yep.
And then it's just like, what big thing do you want to cast? Like, that's where your money is. So.
Trench Post is 39 cents.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Get trenchy.
The extended art is 24 cents.
Ooh. So, yeah, so like, Vesuvas are expensive.
Yeah.
But, like, in terms of legacy cards, they're not expensive.
Vesuvas from Modern Horizons 3, $5.40.
Oh, I did not realize. Okay, and then how much is the Realm whatever thing, the Planar Nexus? That one might be expensive.
$17.
Okay, so you could buy your whole mana base for $60.
Yep.
Or it's $80, and then like
$80.
Then you just get to go like, what enormous thing do I want to cast? And they've given you a ton of like reasonable enormous things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're just like, oh, I want to like, because I mean, some of the uncommon Eldrazi from this set are just fine to cast.
Oh yeah, pretty brutal if you get them out on turn 3 or whatever.
Yeah, like just fine. Like, okay, here's my 5/5 flyer that tapped 2 of your lands for the next 2 turns. Mm-hmm. Or for the next turn, you can't do anything.
Yep.
Okay, and then I'll cast another one. Neat. Yep. Oh, I drew my Ulamog. Now I kill you.
Yep.
So, all right. With all that, I think we got a show.
We got a show.
It was a long one.
Yeah. Almost 2
so,
hours.
Yeah. But we got through the rest of it, so we will talk about something else. We will talk about MH3 Limited or something.
Yeah.
I'm back on the train. I'm 14 drafts in.
Perfect.
And if I wasn't sleep deprived, I would try to sneak a draft in tonight.
No, I am exhausted.
Yes. So if you have ideas for our next show, things you want us to talk about, or anything like that, please let us know. Facebook, Discord, Twitter, email. Let us know. All those links are in the description. Say hey. Yep. Give us show ideas.
Absolutely. Hit us up.
If you know what the plural of locus is, let us know.
It's a good question. Maybe we'll have to look that up. If you're looking to support the show, couple ways you can do it. First is with our TCG player affiliate link, casualtryhard.com/TCG. Go to that website, buy trench posts, support the show at the same time. We would appreciate it. If you want to support us more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel again because I don't think people listen all the way to the end. So this is your test. If you're listening, call me out.
Yeah. Loci.
Loci. Got it.
All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internets.
We'll catch you on the internets.